Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. Club. I'm just over here at the Opera House, just above the Opera Bar. I just enjoyed a cocktail a little while ago, so my head's buzzing a bit. But I thought I'd make the most of this Saturday afternoon. I've finished work. The work week is complete. And what I'm doing is, throughout 2021, I'm enjoying a different cocktail from a different location every week to celebrate this wonderful year. Anyway, I thought I'd do another book summary. And today's book summary that I'm going to go through is entitled The Tipping Point, and the author is Malcolm Gladwell. And before I start, I'll just show there's a gentleman down there with a dog, and what his job is, he's got a long lead on the dog, and his job is to get that dog to shoo away all the seagulls which frequent this area. Because in the past, you'd come here, you'd order something to eat, you'd sit down, and before you start eating, the seagulls would descend and attack and eat all your food. So they've got a dog now with a trainer or a minder whose job is just to get rid and shoo the birds away. Anyway, let's continue along our merry way and talk about the tipping point. And the tipping point is basically a book that provides us with a blueprint on how to promote ideas and how ideas basically flourish and grow in this modern era. So let's just go through each of the three key points that this book has. And you can see the mist being generated by these tents, these umbrellas. So in order for a message to go viral, or something to go viral, a product, an idea, a service, what the author talks about here is it needs to reach a tipping point before it spreads like wildfire. And according to the author, the tipping point is a point of critical mass where the idea goes from being just interesting to a few people to a must-have for everyone. And wouldn't it be great to be able to have a product, an idea, or something that you've worked on that goes viral and becomes a hit overnight? So the author takes us through a number of things regarding this tipping point, and gives us a couple of examples as well. And he says that back in February 2012, Instagram reached its tipping point and became popular overnight. And years earlier, we had another example of a technology which reached a tipping point, and that was the fax machine. And it got to the point where there were a number of fax machines out there in the marketplace, people using them, that it became impossible to do business without having a fax machine, which meant that you had to go and invest in one and buy one, which caused more people, other people, to go and buy them as well. So the tipping point is the critical thing that we all need to think about in terms of how we market, how we promote our products and ideas. And in order to reach a tipping point, the author says that there are three types of people that you need to leverage in order to get to that tipping point. And the three types of people, the three kinds of people who are responsible for getting your ideas and products to tip are as follows. Because just like viruses, the 80-20 rule applies to this as well. And with viruses, 20% of the carriers cause 80% of the infections. And similarly, with your ideas, 20% of the carriers or the people that you've got in your network are responsible for getting your ideas to cross-pollinate and to be made available to 80% of the people around. So it's all about networking, it's all about connecting, but it's all about leveraging the types of people. So in terms of the type of people that we have, geez, the sun's getting hot. It was overcast and raining this morning. It was pouring, believe it or not. But very typical of Sydney, the wind blows the cloud away and the weather changes on a dime and becomes spectacularly beautiful. So the first type of people that we must consider in our network to get things to tip and to go viral are people called connectors. And connectors are people who have massive networks and allow ideas to cross-pollinate from one group to another. I'm a little bit different to everybody else, and what I try and do is I try and limit the people that I connect to on social media, and I currently have reduced my number of connections from upward of 600 to down to 450, and I'll try and get down to about 300 over the next year or two. But there are people out there who have thousands of people in the network. They're connected to thousands of people all over the world, and these thousands of people have interests across a number of groups. So these connectors are people who have big networks. They are people who have massive networks and allow our ideas to cross-pollinate from one group to the other, as we mentioned before. So they're critical because they're a critical mass. They've got lots of people who they can connect with, and if they're influencers in any way, shape or form, then their ability to influence and to get your idea across to other networks is substantial. The second type of people that we need to think about are called salespeople. And they're people who boast, who are very boastful about their ideas, that they love, and their incredibly positive energy is contagious. So what you need to do is to not only have people who are connected to a lot of people, but you also need people who are going to be salespeople for you, people who are going to promote and boast about your product, your idea, your location, or your particular thing, and that they love it so much and that they're so incredibly positive that people are going to trust them, believe them, and follow their example. And the third type of people, according to this author, are called mavens. Mavens, what's a maven? I didn't even know what a maven is. But mavens are the type of people who hoard information in order to be a source of great tips to their network. And mavens are the type of people who are able to influence with their advice, and their advice has significant influence and is considered heavyweight and can be leveraged and make a huge difference. But regardless of what people you have in your network, if your idea doesn't fly, if your idea isn't sticky, according to what the author suggests, then it's not going to fly in the first place anyway. So the author talks about the stickiness of ideas, of products, of concepts, and he says that if your idea isn't sticky, it will never tip. The stickiness factor is whether or not your idea is memorable enough, profound enough to make people take action. And just like personality types, just like people we meet and greet in our daily lives, you know, there are some people who are memorable, there are some people who stand out, there are some people who have an X factor, which is hard to define, but it makes them memorable and makes them sticky. It makes you want to be with them. It makes you want to connect with them, to be their Facebook buddies, to do all of these things. But not every person has that charisma. Not every person has that X factor. Not every product, not every idea has that stickability. So it's important to do your research. It's important to understand what makes people stick, or what is it about your idea that is so special that needs to be promoted and has the ability to reach a tipping point. And a tipping point, to a certain extent, is a little bit like a climax or an orgasm from a sexual perspective. You need to get to that point where the gushing, or so to speak, explodes and becomes wildfire. So in terms of research, in terms of education, the author uses an example, and the example is Sesame Street, that American program that became very famous maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago. But it became famous not through chance, not through luck, but through research. And according to the author, the people on Sesame Street did a lot of research because they found out and they learnt that children are selective with what they pay attention to. And our attention spans are limited, and there's a science, there's a whole science behind what makes people pay attention and connect with you, your product, your idea. So what they did with Sesame Street is they experimented time and time again, and they engineered a show based on the observations that they worked out amongst target audience of children. So it was cause and effect, it was practice, it was trial and error, but whatever they did, they paid attention, they took notice, and it worked and spread like wildfire. More so that even adults found it very, very powerful and a great learning experience. So at the end of the day, your product, your idea needs to be so great, so stickable, so memorable that people just can't live without sharing it. So that's about it. So I'm finishing off, and the music is starting here at the Opera Bar. So let's finish off with the positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, let's take some tips, some life hacks from this book entitled The Tipping Point, and learn how to apply them in our lives, in our families, in our careers, in our work, and do the research which is necessary to ensure that what we do becomes stickable, and people just can't live without sharing it and can't live without listening to it. And I think that's about it. So let's finish off with the positive affirmation which we have. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, and stay reasonable, as we said. And let's live, learn, and pass it on, and enjoy our weekend. Our weekend has commenced. The music has commenced, and I'll be coming to you again tomorrow, or even later on throughout the day, with another Jim's 5 a.m. club, where we'll go on a journey, we'll go on a voyage of discovery and see where it leads us. So yasas, take care, and thank you once again for joining me on Jim's 5 a.m. club on this Saturday afternoon, where I've had my cocktail, my head is spinning, and I feel absolutely wonderful. Take care. Yasas, and bye for now. Finishing off with a filaki. Take care. Bye.